Papua New Guinea delegation donates gold for rebuilding temple in October 8, 2007. A delegation of 34 people from Papua New Guinea visited the Western Wall last week and donated a kilo of gold and several $1,000s to the Temple Institute, an organization dedicated to rebuilding the temple in Jerusalem. The delegation's participants, who define themselves as members of the Bible Circle, told the Institute's workers that they study the Bible on a regular basis. The P.N.G visitors at Temple Institute recently, they read the prophecy of Zechariah, where it says, "And they that are far off shall come and build in the temple of the Lord, and ye shall know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto you." Head of the Institute, Rabbi Yehuda Glick, Chief Executive Director of Temple Institute from 2005 to 2009, was there to receive gold, gift, and offering. From Papua New Guinea and West Papua, Rabbi Yehuda Glick told Ynet, "There was even a married couple who gave me their wedding rings and said they wanted to marry God. The scene reminded me of the legends of King Solomon I read when I was young, and pictures of the Queen of Sheba bringing gold and precious gems to the temple. The vision is literally coming to life before our eyes," Glick said enthusiastically. We now hear from Rabbi Yehuda Glick.
Joining me today in the studio is Knesset member and activist Rabbi Yehuda Glick. Rabbi Glick is the head of the Temple Mount Heritage Foundation, which seeks to allow Jews greater freedom to pray at the Temple Mount. Thank you so much for joining us.
Shalom, Natasha.
Shalom, Rabbi.
Blessing to all people watching us from Israel, bringing the light of Jerusalem to all of the world.
Beautiful. So let's begin with talking about the Temple Mount a little bit. You know, this is one of your most important causes. Why is religious freedom of Jews on the Temple Mount so important to you?
The Temple Mount is the holiest place in the world, not only for Jews, for billions of people around the world who believe in the Bible. And Jerusalem is called in the Bible as a city of peace. Yerushalayim comes from the word Ir Shalom. And that's why also what everything I stand for, and even my office in the Knesset is called Jerusalem of Peace or JerusalemofPeace.com. And our obligation is to turn the Temple Mount into a place which is a world center for peace. Now, a world center of calling in the name of God, and God's name is Shalom. And therefore, it's important that the Temple Mount should be a symbol of religious tolerance for all over the world. That's what it should be, the Jerusalem of peace. That's where it should be.
Now, why has the Muslim community expressed so much opposition to changing the current status quo that we're seeing at the Temple Mount right now?
I'm not sure it's the Muslims. I think that what we see, the greatest enemy of the world today, are the radical Muslims who refer to God as exclusive. He belongs to them. And I think that when I speak about Jerusalem of peace, it means that God's name is peace. It means that God is not exclusive, He's inclusive. And God wants the Temple Mount to be a house of prayer for all nations. And therefore, as my activity for JerusalemofPeace.com, that's what we're doing. We're calling upon all the nations to actually recognize or join this covenant of recognize Jerusalem as a world city of peace.
Now, have you had any support from members of the Muslim community?
Yes, I've personally been a guest in Muslim communities in Italy, in Turkey, and even here in Israel. Unfortunately, many of the moderate Muslims are afraid of the radical Islam. By the way, people don't understand it, but in the last 70 years, 12 million Muslims have been killed by Muslims. Some of the greatest victims of the radical Islam are, first of all, Muslims. And we see it happening in Syria, we see it happening in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and it's all over. And therefore, our attempt, the Temple Mount, should be a world center for peace. And therefore, when I say that we have now millions of people around the world who are signing the Jerusalem Covenant, that Jerusalem Covenant says we recognize Jerusalem as a city of peace. That we have Christians there, we have Muslims there, all people gather in JerusalemofPeace.com signing the covenant saying that Jerusalem is a city of peace. And therefore, when I meet with people around the world and I invite people all over, join us, join this international call. Go in and sign the Jerusalem Covenant, sign the covenant that says Jerusalem is a city of peace. And that's exactly what I'm working for and trying to promote. JerusalemofPeace.com says We support that Jerusalem should be a world city.
Now, speaking of cooperation, let's talk a little bit about religious pluralism. What is your position in regards to religious pluralism at the Western Wall, which we know women for a long time have not been allowed to pray in the manner that many would like to? Should they be allowed to sing, wear tefillin, read Torah?
It comes the same idea. If I say Jerusalem is a city of peace, peace means win-win, means respecting all people. It means that when I see women praying at the Western Wall, I don't say they're there to pray because they want to be provocative, vice versa. I trust that this is what they really want, and we, as a Jewish state, and we as a city who recognize Jerusalem as the city of all the people of the world, and definitely the people, the Jews around the world, the people of Israel around the world, the Western Wall should be open, full of tolerance, allowing people, men, women, to pray the way they feel. And there's no reason in the world why a person who prays, it should be offensive to others. Just like when I say, allow me to pray on Temple Mount, and there's no reason in the world why this should be offensive to Muslims. At the temple, at the Western Wall, women, men who want to pray should be allowed to pray, and there's no reason in the world why, if I pray in a certain way and somebody else prays otherwise, that should bother me. The Temple Mount should be a house of prayer for all nations. Doesn't mean all nations have to convert. Each nation prays in the way they believe, and in the Jewish people also. People we should respect.
We're seeing a lot of kind of acceptance of these changes to be very, very difficult, especially in the government. And the IDF has recently been taking steps to better integrate women, for example, into combat units, to lead to the creation of more co-ed units. But this has received a lot of backlash, especially from religious Knesset members who have come out against this. What is your position on that?
Again, it comes from the same idea, JerusalemofPeace.com, which means that we should allow women who want to join the Israeli army should be welcomed. But we should respect those who don't want their daughters to serve in the Israeli army.
I guess the question is, how do we change minds about this?
So, look, I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic because I just want to remind you all that 100 years ago, not one woman in the world was allowed to vote in any elections anywhere, including the United States of America. And the feministic revolution has changed, and we see today, just a few days ago, we read about a woman who was a judge in New York, and she drowned in the Hudson River. I'm sure you heard of that story. She was the first Muslim African-American judge. Her grandfather was a slave, and so the world has improved. If this woman can be a Supreme Court judge, means the world has improved. And yes, many people...
Do you think co-ed units in the army are something that is feasible, that we could actually implement without problem?
Of course, there are obstacles. We should learn to overcome those obstacles. We should respect girls who want to serve in the army. We should respect men who say that for them it's offensive. And we should allow, as much as we can, as I said, peace means win-win. Those who want to serve together should be able to serve together. Those who do not want to serve together we should be open-minded enough to allow them to serve as they want. So we should go against any coercion. Freedom is a basic when you're talking about of peace. And if I speak about Jerusalem as a city of peace, Jerusalem city of peace means that JerusalemofPeace.com calls for us to allow women to pray the way they want, to serve the way they want, to serve God the way they want, to be accepted to any kind of employment, but we respect that there are others who think otherwise.
Well, it's refreshing to hear your standpoint on this. Thank you so much for joining us, Rabbi. Toda Rabba.
Thank you very much, and blessing to all of you. Shalom to my dear friends from Papua New Guinea. I was so excited when I got a phone call this week, a message in the WhatsApp from Papua New Guinea, the congregations around the country that are lovers of Israel and are praying for the building of the temple. And for me, it took me back several years ago, in 2007, in 2009, when I was director of the Temple Institute in Jerusalem, who are building the vessels for the third temple. And I was approached by a group from Papua New Guinea who brought us gold for the rebuilding of the temple, for the vessels. We used that gold in the crown of the high priest. I remember when they contacted us then, and I was turned on, and it right away reminded me of Zechariah 6, verse 15, that those from far will take part in the rebuilding of the temple. And for me, when I received the WhatsApp message this week, it really took me back to then. So today, my name is Rabbi Yehuda Glick. I'm the director of Shalom Jerusalem Foundation. And I'm so excited to send my blessings from Jerusalem to the Balif Tabernacle of David congregation, to all the Messianic congregation of East and West Sepik, to Port Moresby, and of course to Chief Sanos and Margaret Sanos, and Vincent Iwan, and Jesse and Doris Yalan, and Pastors Hans and Jenla, Pastor Yishai and Wayona, and Sim and Devorah Topaz. All of you are blessed from Jerusalem. The Shalom Jerusalem Foundation that I have the privilege of running talks about the next level, the next generation of Zionism. You know all that the state of Israel is not just another state. It's not just a geographical place where some people move to. It's the fulfillment of the words of the book, coming out of the book, materializing and becoming a reality. The Jewish people came back home to their homeland, but we have a mission, we have a goal, we have an assignment. The assignment is to call the Temple Mount as the house of prayer for all nations, to serve as a source of blessing to all the families of the earth. So yes, Zionism Generation 1 was the return of the people of Israel back to Israel. Zionism Generation 2 was the uniting of Jerusalem in 1967. Zionism Generation number 3 is turning Zionism not to only a Jewish national phenomena, but a global international phenomena where all the nations are connected to Jerusalem, to Zion, to the Temple Mount, to the Golden Gate, to the temple itself, and turning it into a house of prayer of all nations. Not all nations converting to Judaism, no, but all nations with their uniqueness. So it's my privilege and honor to bless you all from Jerusalem. This week, in all the synagogues around the world on Shabbat, we will be reciting in the Torah the portion that deals with the first time the location of the temple is mentioned. It is the binding of Isaac on Mount Moriah. The faith that Abraham taught us all, the devotion to God. This devotion I see and recognize in the people of Papua New Guinea, who brought gold for the building of the vessels of the temple, and who are now connected by their support, by their contributions, by their soul and heart for all the activity in turning Temple Mount to a house of prayer for all nations. Please receive my blessings that each and every one of you shall be a flame in the menorah of God to bring His light all around the world. Shalom. God bless you all. Yehuda Glick, Shalom Jerusalem Foundation, shalomjerusalem.org, shalomjerusalem.org. That is Zionism Next Generation. Blessings to all of you.
Okay, we're here on the closed Temple Mount for Jews for the 7th day. We're here to protest about the closing of the Mount to Jews only, while yesterday night dozens of Muslims on the Mount up there shouted to kill Jews, while we are here staying and hoping to get inside the Mount to pray into our holiest site. And also it is so painful to see the PLO flag waving up on the Dome of the Rock while the police don't do anything to remove it. And many tourists here also see it and ask why there is a PLO flag on the Temple Mount. So this is the situation here from the entrance to the mount. We will be here to protest until the mount will be in our hands.
Hello, my good friends from Papua New Guinea. Thanks for your support and your payments for the temple and for the Temple Mount. So first I wanted to say thank you to all of our supporters, SSEC, Balif, TOD, Congregation, Yanguro, Messianic, Balif, TOD and Aliyah Center, Wingay Messianic Community, Wasara Messianic Community, and Port Moresby Malka Topaz. I want first to thank you all for the support and your generous donations that helps us a lot promoting the Temple Mount for the sake of all of humanity, all of the world, all of the people. And I want to talk shortly about the projects that we will have this year, and also your support is very helpful by doing it. You can see on our updates in English that we're working very hard to get and promote and make as much as we can people to ascend the Temple Mount. Actually the destination we have for this year is 75,000 Jews that will ascend the mount, and we're about to do it by paying 2 buses that will take people to the Temple Mount from all across Israel. We will also working right now to promote new laws according to the Mount with our new government in Israel that will be decided shortly. We purchased lately some new cameras to show to you also and all the world what's happening on the Temple Mount, the good things that are happening and also the bad things that we should improve. Every camera costs about let's say $500, so your support will be very helpful for that also. And we added to our team of working another 2 or 3 people lately that can work harder to maintain the everything we do, the good momentum on the Temple Mount, and we shall proceed and do it more and more. And I want to thank you for your support, and I hope to see you soon. Maybe if you will come visit here in Israel and on the Temple Mount, and surely I will be glad to visit you one day. And again, I want really to say thank you from all of our people and the workers, and you have my appreciation. Thank you.